Let me get live on Facebook real quick. And then we'll go into the intro. I want to thank everyone for those who will eventually come on, and those of you who slide down my timeline and don't click on the picture. Those of you who just kind of, what's up, Gabe? What's going on, man? We see you in 100 years. Brian Lufuata, all maturing. Lord have mercy. I can talk to maturing online. Can't talk to them in their face. I swear. Y'all something. What's going on, Gabe? Uh, hey man, if you can't listen all the way, just stay tuned for a minute, then come back to it later on. I certainly appreciate it. I'm going to go into the intro real quick, but we're going to be talking about the law of the pendulum, the things we do in life and how they're going to come back. You cannot escape mistakes. Running from them only makes it worse. I want to share a few things about my life since my operation and what's been pulling on me to talk about things that I kept secret for, oh man, over 46, 47 years. My brother and I want to talk about death. I want to talk about what's going on in society now. I want to talk about gangs. I want to talk about murder, and all that's going to go, God willing, within an hour. So I hope y'all will stay tuned real quickly. Let me go into the intro and I'll be right back.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for tuning in to this month installment of the 19 Report. I am your host, Brother Johnny. I walked a thin line between right and wrong, took my fears to God, then I wrote this song. The spirit kept calling, so I answered the phone, and then I manned up and got some backbone. My mind resonates at a much higher tone, solid foundation, empire zone. 3 mountains, I'm in one, right to left counted, 9 and then 1, left to right switch it, 1 and then 9, west to east, south to north, a thin line. I know Christ exists, cause his mercy allows me a chance to stand 3 on a square. Yeah, we in there. This is Brother Johnny of Groove 19 Promotions.
Bob. Thank everybody for tuning in. This is Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. We're broadcasting live on Instagram, on the phone. We're broadcasting on Facebook, on Jamil Salib Zamir, the 19 Network. We're broadcasting on Twitter and on YouTube. I got a lot to talk about today, and I'm going to try to keep it in my mind. I'm going to try to hold on to it without writing down things. But I want to say this real quick. I went to see my doctor yesterday because I'm constantly having a lot of lapses in memory. And I had a very, very long talk with him about what happened to me 3 times, not one, but 3 times. 3 times I had to have my heart stopped. I had to be put on a heart machine, a lung machine. The longest you can be on a heart machine and a lung machine without dying is 4 hours. Each operation, the first operation took 6.5 hours. So that's an hour and a half over the 4. The second one was about 5 hours. The third one didn't take as long, but you're only supposed to do one of those. So I died on 3 occasions, and in death is death. But it's the coming back from death that you see things and see places and remember things when you're coming back to this side. So my entire body, I couldn't understand why it was, but it was packed in dry ice. They had to freeze my body. They had to shoot potassium in my heart. And if anyone knows anything about the death penalty, when you get lethal injection, they overflow your heart with potassium to stop your heart. So they stopped my heart with potassium, froze my body so that it wouldn't move, and operated on my heart. They cut it into like little blocks. It's called a maze procedure. Then they had to take the valve out, put a new valve in. So I got a pork valve in my heart. I had to choose between the metal valve and the pork valve. The metal valve have a tendency to rot. It has a tendency to rust and close, and you get more blood clots. So I had to opt out for the other one. And then I had to have a left ventricle replaced, not bypass surgery, but a left ventricle replaced. And then I had to be shocked back into, I was in AFib, so I had to be shocked back into sinus rhythm. So all of these things, and they take all of your body, the blood out of your body, and they replace it with half of your blood with saline solution. So it wipes out a lot of your memory. So I'm not as sharp as I used to be, and I'm told that it will take maybe 2 years to get that back. And on top of that, when they crack your chest, they cut my chest all the way down the middle, pulled it open. When they crack your chest, it damages your spine. They cracked my chest and they took my lungs and folded them back. So when they folded my lungs back to get to my heart, my lungs are still folded. So when I breathe, I have something called mismatching. And mismatching means sometimes the lung will come out a little bit and sometimes it won't. So I lose breath, I black out, I could black out or faint or whatever. That's why it was so difficult for me to walk by myself on yesterday. And most of the time I'm in like a panic mode if my wife is not present. And I'm going to tell you why that is. We're going into the subject matter today of the law of the pendulum. This is for you young people: violence, gang violence, scamming and scheming. And I know this is y'all period. And I'm not trying to hate on you, but I'm just telling you, and there's not many people that will tell you this. There's not many people that will tell you this because they don't know this and they don't have the amount of love for you that I have. But in the operation that I've been through, the survival rate of an operation like that is usually about 2 months. And I've been blessed to make it for 4, close to 5 or 6. I have a friend of mine who is so grateful that I'm alive because he's lost at least 4 of his Muslim brothers from the same operation who didn't make it for a week, 2 weeks. So I'm in a position where I'm so grateful for life, but I'm also in a position where things in my past that I kept hidden because we had an unspoken code then. There's some things I'll never talk about, but these things Allah is telling me to talk about because they're between myself and my brother. And because people think that I'm this standoffish person and they have labeled me as the evil person because I've accepted Islam and they have no clue about what Islam is. But I'm a Christian too. I'm both. I read Bible, Quran. I read the Hebrew Bible. I read all these things. I study these books and they all seem the same to me. I can find the relation between them. So that's where I am with that. But the reason I want to share this knowledge is because I'm seeing something with you young folks. And I'm going to try to stay on subject. But I see you living a life off of YouTube. And I'm seeing a lot of you young ones desire to be men, but you think men is murder. You think manhood is scheming. You think manhood means you have all of this heart that nobody else has. But I know for a fact that you're not as tough as you think you are. Now, that doesn't mean you can't fight. That doesn't mean you won't pull a trigger. That doesn't mean you won't rob somebody at gunpoint. But what that means is you don't have the heart to deal with your own internal issues. So you blame the world for your problems because you're not able to deal with yourself. So first, I want to try to remember everything I'm supposed to say, but I want to share this with you. 2 stories. I've shared one story with you. I've seen 5 homicides in my life as a child, 5 murders and deaths, and not in a hospital. Not in a hospital, but on the street. And I told you about the being in the nightclub and seeing a man get the side of his neck shot out and seeing it didn't even bleed. It was just pink. It wasn't, it's like the bullet fused the veins and it didn't bleed. It was just pink, but the side of his neck from here to here was gone. And if you never seen a person, and most of you have not seen a person in death sprawl where they're jerking and trying to, you never seen that before because you all shoot from a distance and run. And you see the aftermath on the news or you hear about it, but you never see it close up. At 8 years old, I saw it close up. My brother at 9, I was 9. He's 1 year older than me. Either I was 7 and he was 8, or I was 8 and he was 9. I saw that. And I know I was around 7, maybe 6, when we were coming from the TGNY through the field. I told you about that one. And we saw the men fighting under the tree. And the man was cut. He was stabbed up. And we followed the blood drops to where we would just, it was a game to us. We were just following the blood drops. And he was laying in the blackberry patch and his eyes were open and we were waiting for him to blink, but he never did. I remember seeing the ambulance come, and during that period of time, white ambulances did not like coming to black neighborhoods. That's Rocktown and King Street. That's just like as ghetto as you can get. Nobody, maybe one family had running water. These are the traumas that my brother and I dealt with, and we never talked about them, not to family, because my sisters, they could care less. They didn't know to care. They were dealing with their own issues. My mother could care less. She was dealing with her own issues. So we had to deal with that. But I want to share two stories with you before we go on about death and why I feel the way I feel about gangs. I don't have a place to put a group of people who will walk around and bully other people. I don't have a place to put a group of people who offers nothing to the community but death and destruction, drugs, loud music, loud bikes. That's not what the stuff was intended for. But you all live your life off of YouTube. So you see them riding, and the first time you get on a four-wheeler, you wide open. You don't know how to ride no four-wheeler. You don't know how to ride no dirt bike. You're breaking your legs, you're breaking your arms, you're tearing up the bikes. But you figure if I see it, I can do it. And that is the issue with so we see death. Well, I'm gonna kill somebody. They on O block doing it. They on D block doing it. I'm gonna do it. But I don't think many of you know what death is. At 7 and 8, my brother and I knew what death was. We knew what it smelled like. So I want to share two stories with you today, and I'm going to try to say it upbeat, because when I was thinking about it, I panicked. I got in a panic. My wife she's with my son. He just had an operation in Florida, so she's there, and she's the only person really can kind of calm me down when I get in a panic attack. God rest her. God bless her. Lord have mercy. I meant to say bless her and help her to rest. But when I was in the hospital, she never left my side the whole time. And my bed was here, and her bed was over in the corner by the window. But I start having these horrible nightmares, and I'm going to share those nightmares with you one day. And every time I looked up and didn't see her next to me, I would panic. So she left the bed, and she would sleep in a chair right next to the bed, right next to me, where when I jumped out of my sleep, and it was usually around 3:45 every night, because I only get about 2 hours of sleep, she would be right there, and I could see her face, and I would calm down. So when you find a woman like that, that's the one. That's the one you take a hit for, a bullet for. That's the one you sacrifice everything for. That's the one. I want to make that clear. So I want to tell this story kind of upbeat, because I don't want to get into the panic, because my doctor was telling me that these things I have to talk about, because holding these thoughts are going to block my ability to get back to where I need to be. And I have about a year and a half to go with that. So I was 8. My brother was 9. My mother we lived in Rocktown. We lived next to an older lady named Miss Mays. And my mother would go to work at Warsaw Manufactory, and she would leave us over at Miss May's house, which was right next to us. Only thing dividing us was a fence. And she gave us strict instructions. If my father came, don't go nowhere with him. Don't talk to him. Now, this is my father. Now, this is my father. This is my dad. And during that period of time, all you could do back then was just stay outside. We weren't allowed to come inside. Nobody had a television, so we didn't have anything to look at. We didn't have bathrooms. We didn't have indoor plumbing, so we had outhouses. And we had spigots, little holes, not even spigots. We had the pumps that you pump water. So you would stay outside all day. I'm telling you about PTSD right now and trauma, and how I don't understand how you all can glamorize death, with the exception that you never really saw death. You just kill people. You just murderers. You shoot from a distance and you run. But you never seen a body jerking, trying to live when it's going to die. You never seen a man sliced up so bad that he's going to die. So we at my the next door neighbor's house, Miss Mays, and my dad comes to the house because he only came to the house when my mom wasn't home. And we were outside. He told us to come with him. We said, Mama say we can't come with you. He said, I'm your daddy. You do what I tell you to do. We ain't had no choice. We went with him. He took us across the track. Anybody that knows Rocktown know when you go across the track, you in the danger zone. Like the toughest hood y'all got in Manning and Summerton is nothing compared to cross the track in King Street. So he take us to the barbershop. We're in the barbershop. He's outside of the barbershop and he gets into an argument with another man. And they both pull out knives, switchblades. And they're swinging these knives at each other like I would swing at you with my fists. We're seeing this. He's cutting my dad, cutting at my dad cutting at him. He's bleeding now, chest bleeding. And he turns around like holding his chest, and my dad is boom, 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 stabbing him. And my dad runs and leave me and my brother in the damn barbershop. The man is on the ground, bleeding. His buddies are outside. Me and my brother in the barbershop, terrified. The barber says, y'all better get out of here. We say, we don't know how to get home. He says, you got to get out of here. So we leave the barbershop. And my brother, bless his soul, he's passed on. He doing the best he can. I think I know where we are. You remember that house? And I'm shaking. No. You remember? I remember it. Come on. I know where we going. I know where we going. And we get close to the train track. And then my dad comes back before we cross the damn train track. Blood dripping off his hand. His thumb looked like it's about cut off. And he takes us he takes us to the store. And he buys us two packs of marshmallows. That's the bribe. Don't tell your mama what happened. We held that thing in us. I'm 52 years old, never told nobody. We got home. We got to Miss May's house. By the time we got there, my mama was home. He walked us to the corner and we had to walk the rest of the way home. And we were so happy with the marshmallows that in our minds, we pushed all of that to the back of our mind. It's like it didn't even happen. Mama says, where you get the marshmallows? Daddy gave us the marshmallows. Then Miss May says they left the yard. What you think happened to us? We got our behinds wore out. So we just saw one of the most traumatic things that ever happened in a 7 and an 8-year-old boy's life. Then come home and get our behinds wore out and can't tell nobody about what we saw. And we held that between us. My brother died at 50. I'm 52. Did he die? No, my brother, I'm 52. My brother's only 1 year older than me. So he died at 51. And we never talked to anybody about that. We held that in us. We saw a knife fight. That's one of the knife fights. One of them. Most of you don't see that kind of thing. So when you all are talking about shooting people, you shoot from a distance. You don't even see the body freeze from the shot. If they die, if their mouth is open, it's going to stay open. If their eyes are open, it's going to stay open. You don't know what death smells like. That's one story. I'm not going to go any further than that with it. We used to go eat free lunch at a church. We had to walk through woods to get to the church every day. My mom would go to work. We would go to free lunch in the mornings. When we came back, we stayed with Miss Mays. On Saturday mornings, there was a family that lived around a dirt road, but if you took the dirt road, it would be a long way. But if you went through the woods, it would be a shorter way. And we would walk there and go watch cartoons because we didn't have a television. Can't remember their name. And my brother and I'm probably 9 and he's 10. I think we were still living in King Street then. But during that period of time, the Ku Klux Klan would ride through the neighborhood on Saturday nights just for the hell of it, just to scare people. And the communities were separated. It was like the black community stopped right here, like Brewster's Place. And then the white community, the nice houses, went on down that way. But just to keep their authority, they would ride through our neighborhood because the police never came through. And that Saturday morning, we woke up early to go to our friend's house and watch cartoons. And we're never supposed to walk through the woods because there's a big pond there and they called it Dake Blake. That was it was a pond called Dake Blake. And I'm quite sure if I saw it now, it would be the smallest thing in the world, but it was huge then. And it had these huge green lily pads. And it had a boat landing ramp where you could take a boat down it. As we were walking it, we didn't go the dirt road where we're supposed to go. We're going to take the shortcut where we're not supposed to go. But as we're walking through the woods, I mean, the strongest smell of something dead. But, you know, we're used to deers and squirrels and stuff dead. But as we got further into the woods, right next to the boat ramp, there is a body in the water. The head is in the water, but the body is on the ramp. And the body, it appears to be a fat person, but the body is swollen. And we run. We run. The smell is so strong, we run. And we run not back, but we ran forward. And to the left was another body tied to a tree. And it had like a stick, black man, in his mouth, like this, with the string around the stick. And the string was around the stick, around the tree. And blood, it wasn't like thick blood, it was like plasma coming out of the neck. And the body was, and he had, at the time, we don't know it, but his body, he defecated all on it, urinated, he was dying. He was releasing all of his body, and it was so, the smell, my God. And we turned around and we ran home. Nobody to talk to. So in 2021, and I got 2 more stories to tell you. I won't tell you now. But if you never smelt a body burning, if you never saw a body burning, I saw it. I saw a body on fire burning in a car as a 10-year-old. I saw a person die burning in a car. So you all talk about death like it's just this thing that you do. How many of you have smelt a dead body or seen a man get shot and see his stomach swell, see his throat swell? How many of you have experienced that? Or are you just cold-blooded murderers that you shoot from a distance and take the life of people and then say, why I did that? Why y'all let me do that? There is 2 laws of one, the law of reciprocity, where you reap what you sow. You will pay for it. You may live all of your life, but your children will pay for everything that you are doing. And we're going to go deeper into that. And then there is the universal law of the pendulum, where whatever you do going to the right, you're going to have to face the consequences of it going to the left. It's karma, but it is the law of the pendulum. If I swing something from this point and I pull it right there at like a 45, when I let it go, it's only going to go 45 the other way. But if I pull it to 100, when I let it go, it's going to go 100 the other way. But it has to swing that way too. So many of you think that your life is just going to be up. But you must come down and pay for the crimes that you've committed, the sins that you've committed against your own self. There's no escaping that. You run to church when you get into trouble thinking that you can run from your mistakes. Running from mistakes make them worse. Facing mistakes makes you a man or a woman. But people that I know go to church, go to religion, and act like they never did anything wrong, as if though because you act like you never did anything wrong, you are free from the wrong. I don't like nothing to scare me. I don't like nobody to bully me. I don't like to hear that nobody has talked wrong about me. I get super angry. And I'm not this, I'm an asymmetrical warrior. Look that up for yourself. I know when I'm outnumbered. I know when I'm outgunned. I know when I gotta back down. I know. But I'm also proactive. And it's based upon the life that my brother and I had to live with no guidance. We have nobody to talk to about what we went through, and then some. But we got a lot of people, including family, who will say, I don't know what's wrong with them. I don't know why they ought to. No, you don't know. And no, you don't want to know, because you never ask. You just go based on crazy ass dreams that you have and silly ass assumptions that you have. But you never talk to the person that it has happened to. That's two. Two of the most horrific things, and there's 5 altogether. 5 people that I've seen die, smell dead bodies on the street. Nobody got to tell me about it. I see it on YouTube. That's something I don't ever want to see or do. That's why I get afraid when I can't believe people and their audacity, because you're big and you part of a gang, and you figure, nigga, Lord have mercy. Once a person is no longer afraid of death, you got an animal on your hands. And I ain't talking about getting high and talking about you ain't afraid. I don't get high. I was addicted to pain pills because I couldn't deal with life anymore from all we. I got addicted to pain pills. My brother got addicted to alcohol, and alcohol killed him. But Allah was merciful and helped me to get off of pain pills. So I wanted to share those things with you. We're going to be talking about the law of reciprocity and the law of you reap what you sow. It's all of this is in the Bible. This is the magnetic power of the Bible when you're taught it correctly. But you have a bunch of punctified holy folk who don't want to talk about their past, number one. And if you're running from your past, you're a coward. You ain't gonna never figure nothing out. You just living a lie of a life. You in Wonderland. You went with Alice. That's what the story is about. Not facing your real life. So you go into Wonderland and everything is just God, God, God. But how can you love a God who you have never seen in your life? Because it is not that cracker with the blonde hair. That is not God. And Jesus, even if you found the right picture of the man, and it will not be a Polaroid, never said he was God. He said, no man can get to the Father but through me. Why calleth thou me good? No one is good but the Father. But you love that white man with that blonde hair because somebody gave you that and beat that into you. And if I die right now on the air, that still ain't God and never will be. Period. You don't want to talk about the issues. You want to deal with dreams and fantasies and lies that you tell yourself. You're a coward. And you always will be. I don't care how high you rank up in religion. For you to lie to people and tell them you all your life, you are not done some bad now. Well, what did you do? Well, that's my personal business. Well, what the hell did you bring it up for? If you're not going to tell the whole story, what did you bring it up for? But the laws of reciprocity and the universal law of the pendulum, God says, talking about generational curses, the sins of the father shall be visited onto the children. Now, you ain't got to listen to what I'm saying. And you're not going to make me the reason for why it's happening. My children used to do that. Well, don't speak it into existence, nigga. If I could speak anything into existence, it would be good. Why would I want to speak bad into existence? See, the mind doesn't even think straight. I'm telling you what God has given me. My life was taken at an early age. My brother and I froze. They call it, I can't remember the name of it right now. It's a fight or flight response. And we froze because we saw so much horror in our life and didn't have anyone to break that down to us. We thought, and on top of that, people in the neighborhood and your family telling you about all these scary things, spooks and ghouls and goblins. And we just had a horrible life, man. In terms of being able to talk about what we were going through, my brother and I, so we froze. Stockholm syndrome. We fell into a state of fight or flight, and most of the time we would flee. We would run. We would run. Because what is an 8 or 9-year-old child going to do with death, seeing death? What are we going to do? Unhook them from the tree? Then what? Pull them out of the water? Then what? Go help my father fight? Then what? We were frozen. And nobody said, what's wrong with you? They just having all these dreams and visions. He's bad. He's terrible. You know, my brother was an alcoholic. You know, he was. But he worked his way up from nothing to something. Now I want to tell you something. I seen my mother die. My brother die. And my baby sister just passed away a month or so ago. And you can look at death on TV, how pretty death is. How when a person dies with their eyes open, you just put your hands over their eyes and pull their eyes down and they close. My baby sister died with her eyes open. And when I came into the room, I tried to close them because I didn't want to remember that. And each time I put my hands over her eyes, her skin felt like it could peel off of her face. But every time I closed her eyes, Lord have mercy, they would gradually come back open. And it's like she wasn't just looking at me, because there ain't nobody that did to me more for my sister, baby sister, than my second oldest sister, than Pastor Fulton. She was in the room when my sister took her last breath. Strong woman. But life and death is not like television. My sister's mouth was full of blood because they had given her so much medicine that her teeth were coming out. I don't know what part of this death cycle that y'all are in love with. Blow that nigga head off, blow his cap back, bust it. What is it? Because you don't stick around to see the aftermath of the death. You just pull the trigger. A young man is on the internet today crying out of his soul for his brother who was murdered right here in Manning, South Carolina, because his brother is gone, but the murderers are still on the street. Sister Salima, whose daughter was murdered and then some, is fighting for the justice for her child, Dale Castro Powell, whose son was murdered. So many different names of people whose children were murdered. What part of it? And all y'all do is put on a t-shirt. I got a call from two brothers. We almost done. One brother called me. Why didn't you tell me somebody was threatening your life, brother? I said, man, I don't take that stuff seriously. Them niggas ain't gonna do much of nothing unless they at a distance over in a field somewhere. But the other brother called me and he said, who, brother? Who? And I said, I don't know. I said, but I tell you this. You make sure if I trip and break my kneecap, if some unfortunate event happens and I'm struck by lightning, if I have an accident, you make sure, because I will put my life on you, that you find out who did it. And you make sure that nobody wears a shirt to my funeral with my face on it. I said, if they have on a shirt, it better be the blood of the person who killed me on the shirt. I said, take my son with you. He's 14, and I want the blood on his shirt. Period. But we were trained that way. Now, most of you never smelled death. You never seen it close up. You never. But I did that, and we kept that quiet. We don't snitch like y'all do. They just caught the people who allegedly killed FBG Duck, and the feds say that they caught him off the internet from talking. We didn't do that. We didn't have a tight relationship with the police department. All we had was each other. So I lived a rough life, and I laughed a lot. I learned to, when I saw the situation getting bad, I became a clown just to ease the mood. I learned to just laugh. Even now, if a fight is about to break out and I'm in it, first thing I'm going to start doing is laughing. I will not throw the first punch. We are taught not to do that. I will not pull the first trigger, none of that. We're taught to never be the aggressor in our words or our actions, but laughing is how I deal with the situation. I want to laugh. I'm going to smile. Then I'm going to bite my bottom lip. But I'm no soldier. I'm none of that. People always looks out for the brother. So the law of the pendulum we're going to go into, and this is the ending of angels and demons. And the ending of it is this. You all say you want to be independent. You don't want to work for nobody. You just want to do your own thing. But you will never be independent until you understand your own self and the laws of satanic thought. This is Satan's world, according to the Bible. This is Satan's world. According to the Bible, it's in the book. This is Satan's world. And all we want out of this world is what Satan had. All you want is a Maybach. All you want is a Lexus and a Mercedes and a four-wheeler. All you want is a yacht and a mansion. That's all you want. Because you want to live like the devil lives. You want to take the place of the person who enslaved you. That's what you desire. That is not God's kingdom. Because the Revelation says that there will be a new heaven and a new earth, and all of the former things will pass away. You don't want the former things to pass away because you have no vision. So you talk God, but you will not put forth the effort it takes to change what is into something else. You're not built that way. You're just built to follow whatever trend Satan introduces to you. Angels and demons, so he turns you demonic. Like he did with Adam and Eve in the Bible. He promotes death. He puts it in your face, and then rather you turn away from it, you fall in love with it. I'm going to kill a nigga like that. I'm going to get it. Why the hell every gun you buy got to be a damn Draco? Because it's drilled in your head by the people that you admire. 50 Cent is one of the most dangerous people on the planet because he don't write nothing. He just puts his face on death movies. And he makes you think that Ghost and Raising Cain, he makes you think these people are real. And he puts his name on it. But that's how you sell your soul to the devil. I know you're going to get mad at me. I ain't say don't watch the show. But all you got to do is realize that it is just a show. It's not real. Some of it is real. But anything that would incriminate a person in a criminal case cannot be put on a movie, people. So how does Satan control you? He tells you when something is legal. Like when marijuana was illegal, you would hide it. But now he says it's legal. You got it on the internet. Yeah, I got 2 for $5, nigga. I got that gas, nigga. I got it on the internet. My house is at 44452. You can call me at 803. And then you say, who the fuck snitched on me? You snitched on you, you idiot. People say that I'm just the worst person in the world, but we don't have no time to pee-foot around, man. The only ministers that are pee-footing around are dudes that got a little check coming in and got a nice house, or they finally got a job, finally got a nice car, and say, God, God, God. But the pendulum that you swung to the left, to the right, to the left, got to come back. You sold drugs to people. You killed families. You fought people. You killed people from a distance, and you ran. Then you run to religion and you get a job, and you think that's it. Now you're sitting up in school with your children like you father of the year, nigga. You got to be kidding me. And you don't want to bring up nothing about what you did. Now all of a sudden, y'all hang together just talking that Jesus talk. Oh, Jesus. You do not know Jesus. I don't want to hurt your heart. You know a fantasy that was sold to you. But in this book is a story, and behind that story is the truth. And it takes years of study to find the truth, or else everything you read out of this book is verbatim. So you look for parables and allegories that go along with who you are. You don't smoke. You don't drink. So you look for those things. But you're a pervert. You're gay. You're lesbian. You're homosexual. You're a murderer. You're a pedophile. And you don't talk about that. You kill your neighborhood. You bring down the value of your home. The book says that cleanliness is next to godliness. Your yard ain't clean. Your house ain't clean. Your mind ain't clean. Your body ain't clean. You're nasty behind self. Your thoughts aren't clean. Neither are mine. The book says we all fall short of the glory of God. And the book said, this is my father's, this is the book that I got at his funeral. And the book says, we all fall short of God in his glory. And the book says that none of us are saved by any actions that we committed, that we say, I'm saved because I'm good. No, mercy from God. That's it. And you little milquetoast fellas, you get together and you talk about Jamil like, oh, it's the way he delivered things. I've got passion. I'm not a playwright. I'm not a person who script. Good morning. Jesus is saying this morning that the love of the Lord. That's not me. I feel it in my heart. I feel it in my soul. And I know what we're up against because we don't battle the demons. And since you don't battle the demons, you can never go further than the demons. You can't run from mistakes. You got to face them. I am supposed to be a successful person, but I was given a choice. I'm going to chase after God because I know I'm a wreck of a person. My mind is toast. I'm no good. But when God is with me, I'm of some value. Now, I'm going to get off of that. That is angels and demons. You all are being led into the fire by desires. That ain't you. Most of y'all ain't never smelled no dead body before. Y'all ain't never seen nobody in the throes of death before, 2 steps away from stopping breathing. You ain't never seen that. I know you haven't. I can look in your eyes. I know you've shot people. I see that. But you never seen their bodies fall, and you never stood there and shot them and watched them die. That comes later. It's coming, though. Because the people who allegedly killed Duck, the federal government is in Chicago now. Federal government is in Minnesota and Detroit now. So all of those folks are going to come down to Columbia. They're going to start finding triple, quadruple murders now. There are 6 unsolved murders in Columbia going on right now. I'm going to post it up later. Back to back. What happened to Sanaya and Amhotep? That is what's going to be happening to our young people. That is why I'm so connected to her mother. I don't know her father, but I see her mother struggling in a fight that is tearing her apart, but she knows. I know she knows that the way her daughter died and her spirit could not rest like that, because when the spirit is shocked out of the body, it scatters. It doesn't know where to go. It doesn't know how to get home. It doesn't know how to find peace. It didn't have time. So it's disturbed. And the energy is still around. It's somewhere. And as long as the energy is disturbed, the mother gonna be disturbed. So she comes on the air broken. She's disturbed. And until justice is served and the energy of her child calms down back into her soul, my soul, our soul, her father's soul, there is no rest. Because I still hold the soul of my ancestors who were brought here in chains. There is no rest. All right. Now, I talked about that. Talked about I think, and if I've forgotten something, I'll come back on later. But I wanted to get those points out. I wanted to introduce you to who I am and what I've been through, because most of the people that you deal with in life will never let you know what they've been through. But I was reading a quote from Nipsey Hussle, who said that any man who does not let people know about his past is a fool. And I was outside today, and God was pulling on me and saying, go. Tell him some more. No, don't tell him that, but you can tell him this. So if you never smelled death, if you never see in prison, state prison mostly, they stab, they dead bodies, they see the throes of death, they come out animals. And since you all desire that so much, my young brothers, it's coming. This winter and next summer, people that you thought could never die are going to die. Either drugs are going to take them out because you sell so much drugs and you kill so many people. You're not around to see them suffering. You give them drugs and they go home and beat on their wife, sexually molest their children. Well, if I don't do it, somebody going to do it. Nigga, that don't mean you got to do it. I left college homeless. For 3 months, I slept homeless in the wintertime. Never once thought about selling my people crack cocaine. Never once thought about robbing a man. I slept in the woods. I broke into abandoned houses and I prayed. Help me understand why I'm here and help me understand how to get out of here. I had to go to my sister. I had to stay with her and her husband, my brother-in-law. I didn't want to be there, but I needed to rest for a little while. Couldn't tell them nothing. They already thought in their mind, you ain't shit. You ain't gonna be shit. You never be shit. That's their thought. Because everybody falls. Everybody has a bad period in their life, or one or two. And you can forgive everybody. But blood, you can't forgive. But a nigga can come and say, I've killed 4 people and I'm trying to turn around. Well, God will forgive you. God, Jesus died for the God. But your own flesh and blood. See, how you gonna love a God that you never seen? You dig? And families are going through that today. Y'all got them holy people in your house who go to church every Sunday and flip down the aisle and flip backwards and come home and treat you like garbage because your life ain't going so well. I wasn't no troublemaker. I didn't bring trouble to the house. I was quiet. I was just lost and going through trials of my own. And they weren't the worst now. They were decent people. But what you do and what you say to other people. And the ironic thing is the same thing my mother told me is the same thing, God rest my mother's soul, is the same thing that my sister told me. God rest her soul. So I know it's true. So you're fighting a battle now. Most of you done sold your drugs. You on the pendulum has swung the other way. You broke. You got 4, 5 felonies on your record. You got to come back home to mama house. I watch y'all, you young boys. Y'all take care of them nasty behind cars, but you don't cut your mama grass. You won't wash her car. You won't wash the house. You won't trim a tree. You're learning nothing. Closing. Murdoch, the white guy, the lawyer. They arrested him today for stealing $4 million of death insurance from his maid who was mysteriously murdered at their home. This is high crime now. This is gangster stuff. Not only did he steal $4 million from his maid who that life insurance policy was for her children, but his 2 wife and son mysteriously dies. He mysteriously gets shot in the head. His other son mysteriously is being charged with killing somebody on a boat. And I told you all, I said he would be safer in jail because the people who want to get him, he ain't going to deal with that. So now he was arrested today. $4 million insurance fraud and other things, probably racketeering, all that other stuff. But he is a sign of small towns and these people that y'all admire. And these people that y'all think just got all of their good fortune from being good people. Most of them are 8.5 out of 10 are wicked as hell. They see you and I as nothing and nobody. We're just a step for them to get higher. So anytime we do something, they're right there. They use us and we allow them to use us. That's why I have no respect for you all much. Not that it matters. Now, I see you gangster, but I don't have respect for it. Because when I came up in the Nation of Islam, we used to, when the minister was coming to Columbia, unless you're on the E squad, and the E squad is the highest squad that did security for the minister, Louis Farrakhan, you were closest to him. If you were one of the underlings like myself, sometimes you'd have to climb a tree and stay in that tree half the night. We had to watch the Coliseum all night to the next day when the minister came. That was our job. We didn't get paid for that now. We had to walk the basement. We had to walk in 2-foot high water. Wherever someone would try to attack the minister, we had to be there. No guns, not so much as a penknife. Only thing we had was these and a heart to protect our man. But you all, you're not warriors like that. You're addicts, man. You're liquor addicts, you're drug addicts. I mean, if grits would make weed stronger, you would crumble grits up on weed to get a high. You can't fight a war high, not a successful one. So what Satan do? He knows that God is after you. God wants you, young warriors. You're not warriors yet, but he wants you. So Satan is going to give you everything that your heart desires of this world, and he's going to allow you to get it in some of the worst way, counterfeiting money, PPP loans. He's going to get it all back now because the pendulum got to swing back, drug dealing, You ain't going to get caught until you get so old that you got to run 40 years in prison at an old age, because they're just counting the numbers on y'all niggas, because you tell everything on the internet. They just capture the screen and hold it and put you in a dossier for later on. Most of the boys you love they telling on you. They come in the house at night. They break down the doors and they pull them to the station, get the information, and let them go back home. You don't even know they were in jail. You don't even know. And as these big time drug dealers come from Chicago and Alabama and other places, and you start to see these trunks full of money because these dudes is making big numbers, more and more of the police force will become corrupt. Not all, because I know some good cops. I'm going to say it again. As good as they can be, I've called them. I've asked them for advice. A few of them have stuck gun in my face when I was younger, but they were doing their job because I was an ass. But I had no love for police, not for y'all reason. Y'all don't like the police because they breaking up y'all foolishness. I didn't like them because they were killing us. This is where we are. Ain't nobody asking y'all to become no holier than thou Christian. Ain't nobody asking you to stop your hustle. Ain't nobody stop the killing. Any unjustified killing, because y'all killing, you just killing people. You just cold-blooded murderers. You're becoming serial killers. Because some of you got 4 and 5 bodies on felonies, and there's always a crooked ass attorney trying to be a Superman that'll get you off on so you can get bond, and there's always bail bondsmen that will put the money up for you. So you come back out thinking you're an unstoppable and commit another crime. And the niggas who ain't got no life are gonna admire you, man. My nigga got 5 bodies. What color are the bodies? All black, all lower than you, all scared of you. Where your white bodies? Not that I'm advocating killing anybody. But nigga, what white folks have done to us ain't none compared to somebody what we've done to each other. It's just more painful. Mm-hmm. And for any public official, well, I don't subscribe to that. I'm not in that crazy world y'all in. I don't care what kind of car you drive. I don't care what your position. I respect you. You respect me. Other than that, we on the same level. I don't subscribe to that stuff. I'm telling you I don't. Allah is God. I play by the rules, but I don't subscribe to that though. I'm asymmetrical. I know when to shut my mouth because Allah taught me that. So that's what I wanted to share with you. I hope something of value come out of you when you go to the Gold Coast and you take that ghetto stuff to a high-end place where these Italians and these Europeans are making big money. You ain't getting away with that. See, when we were in New York, you couldn't go to Far Rockaway, Queen. Italians do not like black people. They think y'all look stupid calling yourselves by their names because they enslaved you. Africans do not like black Americans. But y'all claiming Africa, 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 Africa. That's not the same place that we were stolen from. Them crazy cats over there don't even know we were stolen. They think we just left. Because that's the story that was circulated, and they don't study us. They come over here and think they're better than us. Jamaicans, they do the same. We by ourselves, Black America. We are the chosen of God because we went through all the hell. We took all the smoke. All of it. All the smoke. God wants us. But y'all are giving into satanic desires. You're bums. You don't want to work for nothing. You just want to take stuff. And you don't take it from white folks. You take it from your own people. You rob your own people. This guy that you were hustling with, because you down and you know he got 6 figures, you will rob him. Y'all are the most cold-blooded people I ever met. Your neighbor who don't bother nobody. You bring your niggas next door to do harm to him. God is going to make that pendulum swing back, and I'm telling you, in the same year and a half, civilians are going to start putting bullets through the heads of these young Negroes who think they are untouchable. Everybody got guns now. Everybody got them. And I'm going to add this in closing because I know I had more, but I'm going to close with this. My father-in-law was an old hustler in New York. He owned a business, a store. He always schools me on stuff. Y'all know if you talk to Papa D, he going to school you on something. They had a lot of robberies in Sumter of gun shops. And I was talking to him about that like 5 years ago. And he said, no, I was saying black folks were doing it. He said, no. He said, the owners of the stores are robbing their own guns. He said for 2 reasons. They'll do it for insurance. And if the guns that they purchase are no good, the firing pins are no good or whatever, they'll steal the guns and they'll put them out on the street and sell them to black folk. So when black folks get caught with the gun, they'll say, that's the guy that stole the guns out of my store. But usually the guns are defective. I bought a brand new pump shotgun from Ace out of Sumter. And it wouldn't cock past 2 bullets, boom to boom, because we shoot in doubles. We don't shoot singles. You shoot boom, boom. And after the second boom, it wouldn't cock, it wouldn't shoot. I sent it back. When they brought it back to me, it shot fine. I could put out 10, 20, whatever. They take those guns off the shelf because they're no good. Serial numbers still on them. $700, $800, $900 guns, $1,000 guns. Somehow they get into the hood with them and sell them to you for $100, $150, $50. Now you got a double whammy. You got a gun that ain't gonna get you out of trouble that you don't know how to unjam. And once it's found, you're gonna be held accountable for stealing. That's how you went from angels to demons. You're just dumb, weaker, a bit wiser, but not wise enough to beat Satan, because none of us are. I'm gonna leave you with that. I thank you all for tuning in. I talk the way I talk out of passion. I never claimed to be a minister, and I never asked any of you to follow me anywhere, and I never made any promises to you about what God gonna do, with the exception of what the book says. I can't make God do nothing. The thing about some and others is they think because they say something that makes it true. Because you pray a prayer over, and Jesus, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. And they die. Then you say nothing. But they weren't all right. When I went to the hospital the second time, I was out of it. I was half dead. And they took me away from my wife and brought me in a room and made me sign paperwork saying, you might not live past this procedure. And 2 doctors were in there. And when he explained it to me, he looked at me and he said, you understand? And I looked at him. I said, yeah, you said basically I'm going to die. He said, you got any questions? I said, no. He got scared. He looked at me scared. Because in my mind, I'm saying Allah is God. He chooses when I live and when I die. You don't. If I come back, I come back. My biggest concern was my son, because I know he's 14, he's 13, he ain't seeing his daddy. And I wanted to see him one more time. My wife was with me. I know they'll be all right, but I just wanted him to know, man, I was fighting. I was trying. Because I came home to surprise him and died and didn't get to see him, went right back to the hospital. My point, what God has for you, you have to figure that out in your mind. Accountability is necessary. I wouldn't join an organization that's always talking about what the police are doing. Now, once we clean up our communities and we go to county hall and meetings, and we tell you what is necessary because we vote you in and we pay for your salary, and you come to our community with some BS, now we got a problem. But as long as we are part of the problem and we cause you to have to come and give you justifiable cause to label, because I'm a certain way, my child is an AB honor roll student just walking down the street because he has braids, you label him a thug or a gangster because the pendulum has swung. I pulled it up with my foolishness. When we protect our children, we don't just protect them by saying defund the police. We protect them by becoming an example for them to live by. You hear me? I thank y'all for tuning in. This Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. I am passionate. I'm not a nut. I'm not crazy. I don't have a felonious record. I can go anywhere in the world. I got 2 passports. I travel. I got a concealed weapons permit. My wife got one. Everybody got one. I'm no different than you. I love God too. So what is the problem? What is it that is so horrible about me? Because there's 3 things people don't like. They don't like a person who knows truth and tells it. They don't like a person who's rich and share their wealth. And they don't like a person who has been anointed by God and can prove it. Because this is Satan's world. And we want to keep it Satan's world. Y'all hear me? We ain't praying that new things will come. We're praying that we get the things that are here. We want the nice big old house and the big old car. And that's all we want. But that's Satan's world. Sometimes a big house is over. I know a house they got a basement, they got a movie. I moved them in the house. I helped them, family. They got a movie theater in the house. They got a basement, they got a 2nd floor, a 3rd floor, and 2 people. Excessive. But if you say something, you're jealous. White folks are downsizing. Gas prices are triple the amount now, so they're downsizing. Smaller cars. They keep their big cars, but they got the smaller ones. We don't think. We got to think. Accountability. I don't mean to offend you with my words, but I'm going to say it like I say it. I'm not your neighborhood minister. That's not me. I'm trying to save souls for real. And it is the job of the messenger to deliver the message clearly. I can't make you change nothing. I just told my son that I can't change you from nothing. I taught my children the same way I'm talking, but they chose the world. They chose it. They're saying they were forced into it, but that's not so. You're lying. Kwame, Elijah, Lil Keith, Travis, Brandon, Zion, you're lying. Shawana, no. We choose what we want to do. Because I was homeless too. And everything I got it from the mud because I got it from God and he created me from mud. So when I say I got it from the mud, I don't mean I found some filthy stuff to do and pass that filth on. I mean, I got it from the mud. We're not the same. That's given. Y'all think toughness is being able to kill people and sell drugs and hustle. It's fast money. It's more money than I've ever seen in my life. But I know that there's a consequence to that. And on top of that, I sold marijuana. Never sold crack or cocaine or nothing like that, or mollies or none of that. But I was very good at selling marijuana. And if I had the money now for medicinal purposes, because I wish that my sister would have found the right kind of marijuana rather than take chemo, because chemo will kill you. Period. Thank y'all for tuning in. This Jamil Salib Zamir, man in South Carolina.
Thank you so very much for tuning in to this month installment of the 19 Report. I am your host, Brother Johnny. I walked a thin line between right and wrong, took my fears to God, then I wrote this song. The spirit kept calling, so I answered the phone, and then I manned up and got some backbone. My mind resonates at a much higher tone, solid foundation, empire zone. 3 mountains, I'm in one, right to left counted, 9 and then 1, left to right switch it, 1 and then 9, west to east, south to north, a thin line. I know Christ exists, cause his mercy allows me a chance to stand 3 on a square. Yeah, we in there. This is Brother Johnny of Groove 19 Promotions.